Hello, everyone. We are so delighted to welcome you into the First Unitarian Society of Milwaukee. My name is Reverend Jennifer Nordstrom. My pronouns are she, her, and hers, and it is my honor to serve this congregation as your senior minister. We are here today for our Irma Morter Lecture and Songversation with Lea Morris. Just a couple of notes about Irma Morter. She was a First Church member who loved life and lived it as an adventure. She loved Marcus Aurelius, and she loved Plato, and she believed in people taking responsibility for their lives and for their actions, and also taking responsibility in the world. So when Irma Morter died, she left First Church a very generous bequest for a series of lectures about personal responsibility. So our Irma Morter Lecture team over the years grappled with that definition and defined individual responsibility in the decisions that we make and in our behavior, how we relate to and treat other people. We take individual responsibility by acknowledging that we are accountable for all the things that we do and all the attitudes we adopt. Responsible acts aim for the intentional promotion of the good in our lives. So, welcome to the annual Irma Morter Lecture at the First Unitarian Society of Milwaukee, and it is my genuine delight to introduce Lea Morris, who is with us in person today. Let's just, So Lea is a joybringer, she's a singer, she's a songwriter, she's a composer, she is a community music activist. So we just had our first church climate revival across the hall this morning. We did visioning, we did dreaming, we did imagining about how we might create a world of collective liberation and collective thriving. In that climate revival that we all took part in, there are 350 UU congregations across the country that are participating in the climate revival. Those UU congregations commissioned a special song, and the composer of that song is with us today. It is Lea Morris, so we're very delighted to have her with us. Lea usually lives in Germany, so this is really a special circumstance. You might remember her from a little thing that we call the pandemic. She was very prominently featured as a regular guest musician during the pandemic. She was also a regular guest musician and interactive leader in our religious education and our faith formation with our youngest people. Reverend Kimberly has said, Kimberly in the back there has said, Lea helped get us through the pandemic, and I have heard that from a number of our congregants, and it's true for me too, dear. I'm a little teary. We are so grateful to have you here with us. You impacted our lives in a huge way at a tender moment, so thank you for being here. Didn't know that I'd be so teary about that. The pandemic was a tough time, y'all. So Lea has an album that is just recently out. It's called Ordinary Magic. We'll get to hear more about that from her, but we hope that you will check out that album, purchase that album. Her website is thisislea.com, very easy to remember, thisislea.com, and we are delighted to have you as part of the Ordinary Magic here at First Church. Lea Morris.
You've probably heard this one. Once upon a time. It's familiar, right? Well, imagine that once upon a time, there was the great golden steppe, the savannah, you know, that open space out in Africa. And on the savannah, there was this, well, queen. This fabulous, glorious, golden-haired queen. She was the lioness, the queen of the pride. And she walked around her terrain, enjoying her beauty and her ferocity, and knowing very well who she was. Well, one day, her paw happened to land on the tail of a mouse, who also knew who she was. And the mouse's general demeanor was very quiet, careful, because she knew that people or beings like the lion would look at her and think, snack. And so when this lioness and this mouse met each other on this particular occasion, the lioness looked down and said, indeed, good morning, snack, how are you? Any final words? And the mouse said, well, actually, I'd like to put out a counter proposal. Maybe I could serve as something other than a snack for you. If you let me live, maybe someday I could return the favor. I could help you to thrive in some way. And the lioness laughed so hard at that thought that she let the mouse go just because she'd been entertained. It's like, that is such a funny prospect that you, a mouse, could be useful to me in any way. I'm gonna let you go because I'm not that hungry. Scatter on. And wouldn't you know, just a few short hours later, that mouse is foraging around very cautiously, very quietly, looking for something to eat, and she hears a growl of distress. And she recognizes that voice. They had just had a conversation. She says, oh no, it's that lioness. Well, it would be a mistake to go in the direction of that voice. I've been spared once. I'm not going that way again. On the other hand, I made a promise. And maybe I could be helpful. So the mouse scurried in the direction of danger and found the lioness hanging upside down by her tail, yowling and roaring and growling because she had been trapped in one of the humans' traps. And the lioness saw the mouse, said, you, quickly run and go get some help. Get somebody who can help me out of this situation. So the mouse immediately followed the instructions, and she ran until she came to an elephant. Elephants are big, elephants are strong, this should be good. Elephant, the lioness needs help. And the elephant traipsed along behind the mouse to where the lion was hanging upside down from this trap. And the elephant looked up, and the lioness looked down. And the elephant shook its head. I don't know how to help in this situation. You're on your own. And off the elephant went to the rest of its day. And then the lioness suggested that the mouse go and get a gazelle. Gazelles are wily, they're wiry. A gazelle will know what to do, so the mouse went and found a gazelle and said, the lioness needs help. And the gazelle said, are you crazy? That lioness ate one of my cousins last week. I'm not going to help. So the mouse went back and reported, the gazelle's not going to help. But maybe there's something I can do. And the mouse went up the tree, climbed up the trunk, and went out on a limb, literally, and used its sharp teeth to gnaw through the rope until the lioness fell and recognized, there actually is something that you can do, no matter how small you are, that can be of service to the whole, to all of us, to others. And so I'm sure you've heard this fable that was attributed to Aesop. It's one of my favorites. And you can be the judge by the time our time here together is through, whether or not it's relevant to the rest of what I'm going to say, but I believe that it is. I want to sing a song with you, because that's the thing that always feels relevant to me. And it's one I bet you heard before. So any part of it that you know, feel free to sing with me. Those words are really easy. Love, love, love. Love, love, love. Love, love, love. There's nothing you can do that can't be done. There's nothing you can sing that can't be sung. There's nothing you can say, but you can learn how to play the game. It's easy. There's nothing you can make that can't be made. And no one you can save can't be saved. And nothing you can do, but you can learn how to be you in time. It's easy. All you need is love. All you need is love. All you need is love. Love. Love is all you need. Love, love, love. Love, love, love. There's nothing you can know that isn't known, and nothing you can see that isn't shown. Nowhere you can be that isn't where you were meant to be. It's easy. All you need is love, yeah. All you need is love. Da, 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 da. All you need is love. Love is indeed. Love is all you need. All I need is love. All I need is love. Da, 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 da. All I need is love. Love, love is all I need. All we need is love. Yeah, da, da, da. All we need is love. Da, 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 da. All we need is love. Love, love is all we need. Can anyone dispute that that is one of the best songs written in the last 100 years? Now, can anyone dispute whether or not that message is true? All we need is love. It's a tall order. But I think in order to answer the question, we have to define that word, because we use it a lot. I was listening to myself, you know, that voice, that kind of thing where you can observe. I was singing concert yesterday in Denver, and I noticed, boy, you say love a lot. You say it a lot, you sing it a lot, and I mean it. But what do I mean? So do you already have a working definition of love? Can I get a couple of your working definitions of that word? Anybody who feels like?
Resonance.
Resonance.
Share.
You're allowed to use more than one word.
Seeing someone clearly, seeing them true. our new values language talks about love as a spiritual practice.
Desire for another person's thriving.
It's acceptance. Acceptance and having some awe in whatever is happening now.
Could you repeat what the first one?
Well, there's a challenge. Okay, so somebody said, okay, so we need awe. Actually, maybe it's best if you all who did share repeat, and then I'll repeat through the microphone.
Resonance.
Resonance.
Spiritual practice.
A spiritual practice. Care.
Desire for another person's thriving.
I bet you heard that, but I'll say it again. Desire for another person's thriving.
Acceptance and awe of what we have.
Acceptance and awe of what we have. So my definition for a while has been recognizing a connection and reveling in it, finding joy in a connection with another person, another being, a place, a food item. You know, we like to say, oh, I love ice cream. So that suggests I recognize that there's a connection with this thing, and I like that. Whereas some people are defining the opposite of love as fear. But if we go with the sort of the old school hate thing, still requires a certain amount of connection. Recognizing there's a connection between me and that thing, but then feeling a negative, or me and that person and feeling a negative reaction to that connection. So that's sort of my working definition of love, which is relevant because now I'm going to make a statement that you really just may not agree with, and that's okay. I only have the microphone for a total of 2 hours, and after that you can erase, just delete everything I said. But I believe that the most foundational, important personal responsibility each of us has is to cultivate self-love. It's not the whole house. It's the foundation of the house. There are some teachers that I listen to, sort of mystical. Oh, somebody's walking out. She's like, nope, I'm not buying that. There are some mystical teachers who I listen to who define God, which is a word I don't use anymore, but I know the word well, and I was taught as a little girl that it meant something very specific. God was actually a being in a certain location, and you could communicate with God in this way. Well, I like this new definition that suggests that God is everything. And so that's what I use, and that's how I communicate with my kids. Nature, if you like, but also those things we can't perceive or understand or don't know anything about yet. God is just all of that. If you gotta use the word God, that works for me. Everything, all there is. And what that same mystical teacher says is that the frequency, if you want to feel this godness in your life, the frequency of this godness is unconditional love. So when you feel that, I know a lot of people are able to conjure up unconditional love for their pets, and I think that's why our domesticated animals are taking such an important role in our lives, is that it gets increasingly challenging to find unconditional love for each other, human beings, but we can do it with the animals who love us also unconditionally. And maybe in that experience of extending that kind of love, whether it's to ice cream or to your dog or whomever it might be, you feel in a sense of what God is, what the sacred is, the divinity. That's just part of my musings. So what about the self-love thing? Are you, in your day-to-day life, and this is just a private, you don't have to own up to anything, it's just a kind of an open question. Are you more prone to self-love or self-criticism? Is there any of the default language, even if it's kind of just lightly self-deprecating, like if you make a mistake, oh, you, whatever, or, oh, I'm not doing enough, or I don't like the way I look today, I don't like the way I look ever, oh, my body is this, or, this is what it is, new day. All right, here we are. Look in the mirror and go, oh, you're kind of cute. You know? Are you more prone? Is your default, your reflex action more self-love or self-criticism? Regardless of your answer to that question, I want you to consider that you are not even who you are. You're not even who you think you are. And I'll tell you what I mean by that after I sing this song. This is a song that was written by Sept, who's this, oh, she's back. I'm happy. I know when people could come in and go in there, like, please just ignore me and pretend I'm not, but I can't. I could, but I don't. So Sept is a songwriter in the Pacific Northwest. I believe she's in Washington. And she wrote the first verse of this song, and she decided it feels incomplete. But I know that my friend Amy Ringel could bring something beautiful to it. And the song is called Lone Wolf. I'm not a lone wolf, and I never was anything I achieve. I achieve it because I am standing on the shoulders of an infinite many, seen and unseen. I'm not a lone wolf, and I never was anything I achieve. I achieve it because I am riding on a tidal wave of universal longing. I'm dropping the I, I'm claiming the we, I'm feeling the everything inside of me. I'm dropping the mine, I'm claiming the ours, cause the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. I'm dropping the mine, I'm claiming the we, I'm feeling the everything inside of me. I'm dropping the mine, I'm claiming the ours, cause I recognize how connected we are. Every tear that was ever shed, and every prayer that was ever said, and every step on every day leads us into the dancing. This is love's way. Oh, every tear that was ever shed, and every prayer that was ever read, and every gesture on every way leads us into belonging. This is love's way. I'm not a lone wolf, and I never was everything I achieve. I achieve it because I am standing on the shoulders of an infinite many, seen and unseen. I'm not a lone wolf, and I never was anything I achieve. I achieve it because I am riding on a tidal wave of universal longing. I'm dropping them out, I'm claiming that I never was. I'm feeling the everything inside. I achieve it because I am standing on the shoulders. The whole is greater than the sum of the parts. I'm dropping the out, I'm claiming that I never was. I'm feeling the everything inside. I achieve it because I'm dropping the out, I'm claiming the eyes, cause I recognize universal longing. I'm dropping them out, every tear that was ever said, and every prayer that was ever said, and every step on every day leads us into the dancing. Just I'm dropping me out, every tear that was ever shed, and every prayer that was ever read, and every gesture on every day leads us into the dancing. Long days is love's way. Oh, oh. Sept and Amy Ringel wrote that song. And it wouldn't have been what it was if it had just been one or the other of them. So again, this statement, You're not, I'm not who I think I am. I'm curious, just to kind of get an idea of who you are. Does the following statement mean anything to you? We are Groot. We are Groot. So if you're Marvel, and if you don't know, you're probably for the best. But there's a Marvel movie called Guardians of the Galaxy, and I won't go into great detail, but the statement basically means you are the collection, you are the sum of the influences on your life since you got here, and maybe even since you were in utero. My kids like to say, and I could say about myself, my mom was certainly singing while I was in her belly, and I was certainly singing while my kids were in my belly. And I've got singers, and I've got musicians, and I've got music lovers, and it's probably not coincidental, right? We are the sum of many voices, many influences, some of which are positive, constructive, and some of which, of course, are negative, destructive of our natural state of being. And you can probably think about specific people, movies, songs, experiences that have had positive or negative impact on you as a person. I'm going to share a couple of examples from my life. The first thing I thought about was every time I don't cross the street during oncoming traffic. I can thank my parents, but figured I should dig a little deeper than that. I love working with kids. I love making music with kids specifically and seeing their eyes light up and digging into that natural joy that most people start life with as far as their relationship to music. Now that can be, I don't want to say beat out of people, but it can be pressured out of people. It can be embarrassed out of people. I meet so many adults who say, oh, I can't sing. Somebody told me when I was in second grade either to leave the choir or just mouth the words, I dare not. But it's a joy and a privilege for me every time I get to spend time with little people, whether they can match pitch or not, whether they have a sense of rhythm yet or not, and just enjoy music. And my mom, when I was a kid, used to write pageants for the various Christian holidays that we celebrated and invite all the kids to come in, and everybody would get a part, and everybody would have an opportunity to shine and celebrate with their voices. And I know to thank my mom for being that kind of an influence in my life, that when I saw her doing that, and I saw her joy in that, it resonated with something in me that I'm carrying forward now. And whenever I get to create a new piece of music and to pull, it feels like pulling harmonies and counter rhythms out of the sky. I remember that my dad, when I was a kid, used to call us kids into the room where he was playing the piano and give each of us a part to sing. And we would be his little orchestra. All right, you sing, this is the horns. Ba-da-ba, ba-da-ba. Okay, you're gonna be the bass. And my dad would play the chords. And at the time, it was actually kind of annoying because we were doing something else. And he would always call us when we were doing something else to come and do this, but I had a knack for it. And I maintain a knack for it, and it's actually a really vital part of my living and my livelihood and my joy and my passion in the world. And I know to thank my dad. Now, when I was 21, I became a mom for the first time. I don't recommend that to my now 24-year-old. Okay, so, but when I had my little girl, Layla, I was also still very much nurturing this dream, this vision of being a world-traveling musician. I knew I had this music in me, and I knew one of the joyful ways that I could express and explore that was to go out into the world and play my music with and for other people. But I had this voice, this certainty that you cannot be a good mother and travel the world touring. At the same time, these two things are not compatible, so you're gonna have to make a choice. Which of yourselves would you like to be? And I made the choice. For 20 years, I pretty much stayed at home. Home for me at the time was the Washington, D.C. area. And I played a lot of shows there, and I had a lot of fun and met a lot of people, but I always had this desire in the back of my mind, in my heart, to go out and share and receive in other places. And I just suppressed it. I had another child, and I suppressed the desire to go out into the world, and I had another child, and I suppressed the desire to go out into the world and share my music more broadly than I was doing, thinking that that was how I would be a good mother. My mother worked a full-time job and was a primary breadwinner in our home. And she often would say, well, I know a good mom would be at home, but I make more money than your dad, so I go out and that's how I serve the family. But a good mom, a really good mom, would be at home with you. And so that message was ingrained in my way of mothering, and I was convinced that was the only good way to be a mom. What I didn't really recognize until rather recently was that while I was physically present with my kids, and of course I loved them, and of course doing my best, there was also this undercurrent of resentment, this sense of not being my complete self. And now that I'm having the opportunity to come out and share more, I revel more in my time with my kids. And I revel in this part of myself that gets to go into the world and share my music. And I recognize that self-love means honoring all of ourselves, allowing even the difficult parts to flourish, to work through the challenging, I don't want to say the lies, because I actually want to address the idea that any of the input that we get is good or bad, but addressing the voices in us that are destructive in the sense that they diminish who we would be, who we would choose to be. Is there any such thing as good or bad? You know, Shakespeare said that thing. But just because he said a thing doesn't make it so. No such thing as good as bad. Well, I would say, as to the rightness or wrongness of any of the voices that call out to us, the way to tell the difference between, the way I tell the difference between whether a voice in my head is speaking true or speaking false is, how does it feel to me? How does it resonate? Someone said resonance. How does it resonate with who I want to be in this world? So a lot of people would say that the social media craze of the last, 10, 15 years is detrimental to anybody who gets sucked into it. Even my 24-year-old Layla will say that Instagram and TikTok, what does she say, they're poisonous? They're toxic. If you spend too much time comparing yourself to other people, that you get lost in this toxic mindset of not being enough. Well, I've heard a definition of tradition, that tradition is peer pressure from dead people. And the reason I consider those things to be comparative to each other, comparable, is that we often look outside of ourselves for what we're supposed to be doing. What is the barometer? Where's the meter of how I'm supposed to show up? What are the other mothers doing? What are the other musicians doing? What are the other, however you might identify, whatever it is you choose to do, what have the people in the past done? What is traditional for my church to do? What is traditional for, whatever the case might be? Or what are the people around me doing? I can look on social media and find out. But what you can't find out from looking on social media or checking tradition is how you are meant to show up in the world. You can get ideas, you can get flickers of concepts, but only you know the answer of who you are meant to be and what you have to offer. What is the highest and best, what resonates most with your spirit. There is a psychologist named David Baer who talks about primal versus empowered ways of living. So the primal ways of living are based on fear, stress, embarrassment, and fear is really at the base of all of these. And they result in a fight or flight response. We all know it very well. The empowered thoughts, however, are based in love and peace and joy, and you can instantly feel the difference between the two. A primal thought pattern or belief would kind of resonate with what it would be like to be the mouse underneath the paw of this lioness. And we feel that kind of pressure all the time, although we very rarely have these kinds of existential threats in our lives. Is my plane going to be on time? How many people are going to be here for this event that I want to flourish? The other hand, we have our empowered thoughts. All is well. I'm surrounded by people who are loving and kind. I have an opportunity to show up as light and kindness in this place. When we allow our empowered thoughts, he says even just 51%. If your thoughts towards yourself and towards the rest of society are just 51%, as opposed to 49% of the primal thoughts, that you're moving in the direction of a more empowered life. So again, that question, how often are your thoughts self-loving or self-critical? Can you claim that you can, at least 51% of the time, you're being loving towards yourself? It was mentioned that Irma Morter was a fan of Plato. The quote, an unexamined life is not worth living. It's actually kind of harsh. It's kind of a big statement to make, but it does give us some context. It was attributed to Socrates, and Plato was the first person, I believe, who wrote it down. An unexamined life is not worth living. I believe that the way we can engage with that now is to think of ourselves. We tend to think of ourselves sort of as computers, although computers are based off of our way of working. But I'm just going to give you this metaphor because I think it's really useful. We think of our bodies as hardware. And ideally, we give our bodies the exercise, the quality of food, the rest that we need to thrive physically. Well, the same thing applies to our software, our thoughts, our beliefs. How often do we actually go in and examine our software and figure out why we're thinking the things we are thinking, not necessarily tracing them back to mom and dad, but asking ourselves, is this bringing out the best in me? Is this allowing me to flourish and show up as the best version of myself that I can be and empowered me? Or is it diminishing that? Am I so afraid that the wrong person will become president that I am acting in a fearful, unloving way towards people who might vote for that person? I think it can happen that we believe so strongly in something that we tend towards a primal grip on it, when it might at least be worth considering whether we can have an empowered faith in those things that we believe to be true about ourselves and for our society. Before I left home 10 days ago, my little girl, Lucy, who's 8, started crying and saying that she wasn't sure she wanted to go to school today because her friend Rosalie was expecting her to do something. And Lucy wasn't entirely sure, wasn't clear on what it was Rosalie wanted her to do. I'm not entirely sure. I think it might have been some sort of, they were supposed to dress the same way or who knows what. But Lucy didn't want to do it. Rosalie wanted her to do it, and Lucy was crying because she didn't want to. And I took it as an opportunity to just lay out to her, you have a choice. You can do what Rosalie wants you to do. Whether you want to or not, you can choose to do it. Or you can choose to do what you would like to do. And either way, there's going to be a consequence. Rosalie might get angry with you if you don't do what she likes. You might get embarrassed if you do the thing Rosalie wants you to do. But think of it, I always have said to my kids, think of it this way. You are always, always at choice. I can't even make you do anything. And I don't try to. As your parent, there is a consequence for every decision you make. And I believe the same thing applies. There is a consequence for each of our actions that we can see in the world, but where the actions come from? They come from our inner world, from our software, from our thought patterns, our beliefs, that we do have the power to examine and reprogram if they're not serving us. And so I just, again, want to offer to you the option of spending time with your software and enhancing your self-love program to the point that it can be of even greater service to yourself and to the world around you. I'm curious how many of you have some sort of regular practice. It doesn't have to be daily or a specific thing, but something that you engage in that is your software maintenance program. Do you have something that works well for you? Yeah, sort of. I want to hear about sort of. I love that. Do you care to share it?
I try to practice, but it doesn't always go center. Wanders.
What sort of practice do you engage in?
Yoga, and my mind wanders.
Yeah, oh, don't I know? Yes, I understand. Does anybody else have a practice that they have cultivated, are cultivating, that feels like that is working for you?
I meditate. I'm now meditating daily. I've been doing that for a while. And I started journaling.
Meditation and journaling. What type of meditation do you do?
Sit and follow my breath primarily.
Sitting and following his breath. Does anyone else have something they want to share that works for you? Yeah. Or that you're trying or have tried?
Morning bike ride.
A morning bike ride. Yeah. That's really resonant for me because during the lockdown, I like to walk anyway, but I started taking a daily walk in the morning before my family would get up because I wanted to select my software. I knew that when they got up, they would be trying to push my buttons. I wanted to have already selected my buttons so that was the mindset that I started the day with. And that's just the sort of thing that, certainly sometimes our minds wander and we aren't fully in control of the process, but I don't think the idea is so much to be in control of the process as to allow ourselves that time. Just to listen within, to let go of all the primal stuff that bombards us all day long and tells us we need to be in a state of fear and shock and stress. Just allow ourselves some time not to be there so that we can listen to the other parts of ourselves, the voices that tell us we're okay, the voices that guide us towards who we can be, the best of ourselves. I think it's really, really necessary if we're going to give something of value and live the highest life that we can to take that time, because the world doesn't naturally offer it to us. We have to claim it. I'm listening. I am listening. Spirit, speak to me. I'm listening. I am listening. Spirit, eyes are wide open to see what I may be. I'm listening. I am listening. Spirit, speak through me. So I'd like to share the American Sign Language translation of this song that I got from my sister. If you'd like to join me, I will admit that I probably have an accent in ASL, but I do my best. So if you take your fingers like this, and we're going to bring them like to our temples, that's listening. So point your finger to our chest. I'm listening. I am listening. A spirit that floats up from the foundation. Spirit, all four fingers, speak to me. I'm listening. I am listening. Spirit, speak to me. Now our hands are wide open. And then our eyes are wide open. My hands are wide open. Eyes are wide open. So we have these two fingers, and the thumb goes in between. We're coming from our eyes, so just below our eyes, to see what I may be. To see what I may be. I'm listening. I am listening. Spirit, speak through me. Okay, so now, do you want to sing it while we sign it? Oh, here we go. I'm listening. I am listening. Spirit, speak to me. I'm listening. I am listening. Spirit, speak to me. My hands are wide open. Eyes are wide open. To see what I may be. I'm listening. I am listening. Spirit, speak through me. I'd like to invite you on a meditation with me. If you feel like closing your eyes, if that's your jam. If you don't, that's fine too. But I'd like to start with darkness. And if our eyes are closed, then seeing the darkness comes pretty easy. In the beginning, there was darkness, and then there was this cosmic sneeze. What does that look like to you? Do you see the beginning from nothing to the beginning of something? And how it's spread out over what scientists believe has been 5 billion years of becoming to result in now. Can you start with your toes? Wiggle your toes, acknowledge your beautiful toes. And let your attention gradually spread to the soles of your feet. Acknowledging the bones and the marrow in the bones and the muscles and the blood vessels and the fat tissue where it is, and the skin and the hair and the nails. So you work your way up past your ankles, your calves, and shins, just honoring them as you go. Your knees, up your thighs, to your hips, up into this precious cavity where so many vital organs are helping to keep us alive. Digesting the lovely food we had, allowing us to breathe, sending the blood around our bodies, up past our torso, into our shoulders, honoring the spine, the length of the spine, down the arms to our elbows, our forearms, our wrists, our precious fingers, palms of our hands, and back up our necks, our throat, all over our skulls. Just let our attention flow to all of our facial features. Let them relax. Take a deep breath. Bless our fabulous brains. And now center on any part of your body you choose. A finger, an organ, a kneecap, anything you like. Just focus in on that one little spot of you. And send it as much love and appreciation as you possibly can, just for being part of the whole. Thank you so much for being part of this experience with me. Now focus in, all in your imagination. See if you can focus on one cell in that organ or that part of your body, just one cell, and send it love. Can you focus in even more on one molecule in that cell? Do you remember what molecules look like? Can you thank it, bless it for being itself? And on down to an atom. And as your attention expands back out gradually, or instantly, to encompass your whole body, can you feel the magnetic field that extends beyond your body? Just bless everything that feels like it's you. And bless the chair. Bless the bench that's holding your body in place. express gratitude to the floor that is holding up the bench, that is holding your body right now. And a gratitude to the walls of this place for doing what they do so well. And a gratitude to the architects who designed this place and the workers who built this place. And a gratitude to the other people, the other spirits, beings in this place who are allowing us to have this peaceful time together, each of us making a choice to be here peacefully. Now, let's all of us extend our imagination beyond these walls into this neighborhood. People are coming and going. They have no idea we're in here. They're doing their things, their life things, and the animals are coming and going, and the plants, and the buildings, and the air, the stones, the water. Bless this entire neighborhood on out to the city, the state, our nation, our continent. This beautiful, beautiful world. Can you sense the magnetic field around our planet? Resonant with the magnetic field around your body. When we see ourselves, when we be ourselves, when we are ourselves, as we truly are, we begin to build the necessary foundation for self-love that cannot flourish in isolation. Those are words from Bell Hooks. And I think she gets right to the heart of the point that I'm trying to make. It's at the beginning, the foundation of showing up in the world in a way that can open up the possibilities, the potential that often lies dormant in this society, in our nations, in ourselves. That is the foundation of the best of what we have to give the world. It is, I believe, the greatest personal responsibility any of us has, is to get to know ourselves, to choose which of the many voices that we hear we're going to listen to and live by, and love ourselves so loudly and so beautifully that everyone else has permission to do the same thing. And our societies, our children, our elders, all rise up to meet us where we are. We're making space and giving permission to everyone to love themselves, to know themselves, to be themselves authentically. And I could make a list of heroes who we share in common who have done that, who have been brave enough, bold enough, crazy enough to love themselves authentically, even though everything around them told them, you're not supposed to be loving yourself. You're supposed to be hiding. You're supposed to be cowering. You're supposed to be quiet. That is not the best life that any of us has in store for us. So if you start thinking, ooh, I better be quiet. Ooh, I better be careful. And you tell that voice, thanks for trying to keep me safe, but I've got work to do here. I've got a way that I need to show up. And I don't know what that is for you. Nobody does but you. But I invite you to love yourself and love the rest of this beautiful world enough to say yes to the best of you, to love yourself fully, so that you can give permission to the rest of us to do the same thing. We will, I promise, rise up to meet you. We are gonna keep moving though our limbs grow tired. We are gonna keep striving toward the light. We are gonna keep choosing to be true to life. We will fall and we will rise. We will fall and we will rise. We are gonna keep moving though our limbs grow tired. We are gonna keep striving toward the light. We are gonna keep choosing to be true to life. We will fall and we will rise. We will fall gonna keep on choosing. We are gonna keep on choosing to be true to life. We will fall, and we will rise. We will rise. We will fall, and we will rise. We will rise. We are gonna keep on moving. We are gonna keep on learning. The violence grow tired. We are gonna keep on striving. We are gonna keep on striving toward the light. We are gonna keep on choosing. We are gonna keep on choosing to be true to life. We will fall, and we will rise. We will rise. We will fall, and we will rise. Thank you. Thank you so much. So you sing so beautifully. I thought maybe we'd join in a couple of more songs together. Let's lift up that empowered side of ourselves. This is a song you've probably heard before. Let's see. I'll sing a bit, and you can, if you know it, please sing with me. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. And you know the song, and you probably know it as a song that was sung by one of our enslaved ancestors, who was almost certainly unlettered, who had never studied music, hardly had the opportunity just to spend some time with themselves and cultivate the best of themselves. Nevertheless, see for us. Imagine such a thing. Imagine if your life is literally under the palm of a lion, a lioness, and yet you find the inner sanctity to sing a song like this that lasts for generations. So I'm going to invite you into an ASL-derived physical experience. So the sign for peace is this, peace. So we're going to turn it kind of into body percussion. We've got peace like a river. So it's derived from that. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain in my soul. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain in my soul. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean in my soul. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean in my soul. So, was mentioned that I currently live in Germany. And a few folks have come up to me and started speaking German, and it was kind of like, where am I? I passed a sign in my new neighborhood in Meine, is the name of the town where I live. Small, small place. And the sign says, Nie wieder ist jetzt. Never again is now. And it is remarkable how relevant that is in so many places around the world. We are being faced with a choice, going backwards or moving forward. And we moved in 2020, Halloween 2020, in fact. And January 20th, 2021, I called my daughter, who had moved to Costa Rica rather than come with us to Germany. I called her and said, did you see Amanda Gorman? They were the same age. They are still the same age. And I said, where you just moved? And she said, basically, yawn city. She said, that has nothing to do with me. American politics has nothing to do with me. And just because they find one poet who looks like me doesn't mean. So, fast forward to the summer. I get a call from Layla. Mom, we are not going back. Right, you are my girl. Right, you are my girl. And so I felt that one thing I could do to echo that message of our future president was to write a song, because that's a thing that I do. And so I'd like to invite you to sing the refrain with me. It's 3 parts. This is the first one. We are not going back. 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 There we are. We are not going back. Brilliant. So part of my practice when I'm working on fine-tuning my software is definitely to recognize what I don't want. But as soon as I'm clear on that, it's to start putting more energy in what I do. You know, in facing in the direction that I do want to go. So I think the first part of our statement is we are not going back. So what are we going to do? Keep churning out the same beep that we have now? That won't cut it either, in my opinion. We must decide that we are going to move forward, right? And I don't think it all rests on the shoulders of one representative, but I certainly believe that there is a very clear option if we're interested in moving forward. So, the second part is, the future is ours. The future is all of ours. The future is ours. The future is all of ours. The future is ours. The future is all of ours. The future is all of ours. Beautiful. So let's put those together. Half of us, or whoever you are who want to sing that. You know what I'll do? Is I'll introduce the third part too, and you can decide which one really feels resonant for you today. And that might have to do with whether you're soprano, alto. Onward, 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 forward, onward, 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 forward, onward, 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 forward. So, those are the three options. Do you have a sense of which one you'd want to sing? Let's put them together. So, can I get a show of hands? Because it does help if we know what we're going to do. Who wants to sing We Are Not Going Back? We are not going, good, one gentle, okay, good. Good. And who wants to sing The Future is Ours? And who wants to sing Onward, Onward? This is a beautiful split. That's so perfect. Okay, so let's get the We Are Not Going Back, folks. 2, 3, 4. We are not going back. We are not going back. We are not going back. The future is ours. The future is all of ours. The future is ours. We are not going back. The future is all. Onward, 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 forward. Onward, 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 forward. Perfect. Somebody told me you got your eyes in the back, always looking behind. Always looking behind. From what you've shown me, when you talk about that, you only got you in mind. You only got you in mind. Well, there's a whole lot of faces have never been seen, voices I've never heard before. This is a land of courage, a home of dreams. We know that's what's called for, and we got places to go. We got stories to tell, how we have been through the fire and marched through horror and hell. But we're not walking alone. We face the future as one. Our superpower is love. That's how we're getting things done, and we're not going back. We are not going back. We are not going back. The future is ours. The future is all. Onward, 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 forward. Onward, 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 forward. We want to wake up. We want to grow and become and not get stuck in the past. Stuck in a granddad's muck. We're gonna shake off the lie that we can't do better. We are coming up fast, and we are not afraid to laugh. Oh, it's a whole lot of power and a whole lot of change that can be kind of frightening. Believe me, this is our hour and this is our day. Ignite a spark like lightning. Oh, we got a country to save and we got history to make. This ain't no time to behave when there's a ceiling to break, and we're not walking alone. We face the future as one. Our superpower is love. That's how we're getting this done, and we're not going back. We are not going back. We are not going back. The future is ours. The future is all. Onward, 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 forward. Onward, 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 forward. Thank you all so much. And thank you especially Reverend Jennifer and to Alyssa for the invitation. Thank you, Bill, for making me audible. Thank you, Desiree, for the warm welcome. Now, I have an idea. It seems like such a great idea in my mind. But one never really knows until one tries with things. And so the idea would be, as those of us who feel willing and able and whose bodies are willing and able to participate, that we make a circle. I think we're just enough people, it would be like an oval, actually, around the space here in the middle. Well, awesome. A couple people popped up, so that's good. Because once again, the whole goal of this self-love thing is to benefit the whole, the all of us. Yes, 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 that would be the idea. Yes, yes. All right, so here is the song. No one gets to heaven alone, to heaven alone, to heaven alone. No one gets to heaven alone. We get there side by side. Can we sing that together? No one gets to heaven alone, to heaven alone, to heaven alone. No one gets to heaven alone. We get there side by side. So here is the first, well, we're just rising to the challenges. As we sing, some of you maybe had the great joy of patty cake or Miss Mary Mac as a young person. We're gonna go lap, clap. And, right, so you have to kind of choose, and you'll just send the energy. There we go, okay? Do we have enough space that everyone can be connected in this? Oh, that thrills me, awesome. So let's sing it again. No one gets to heaven alone, to heaven alone, to heaven alone. No one gets to heaven alone. We get there side by side. One more time. No one gets to heaven alone, to heaven alone, to heaven alone. No one gets to heaven alone. We get there side by side. So there's a second part of the song. Side by side, side by side, side by side. We get there side by side. So I'm going to put it in a better key. No one gets to heaven alone, to heaven alone, to heaven alone. No one gets to heaven alone. We get there side by side. And when we get to the side by side, a couple of options are a couple of steps to the right, side by side. And if mobility's a thing, just throw your thumbs. Yeah. Side by side to the left twice. Side by side. We get there side by side together. Side by side. Side by side. Side by side. We get there side by side to the beginning. No one gets to heaven alone, to heaven alone, to heaven alone. No one gets to heaven alone. We get there side by side, side by side, side by side, side by side. We get there side One more time for everything. Here we go. No one gets to heaven alone, to heaven alone, to heaven alone. No one gets to heaven alone. We get there side by side, side by side, side by side, side by side. We get there side by side. Okay, really the last time. No one gets to heaven alone, to heaven alone, to heaven alone. No one gets to heaven alone. We get there side by side.
That's all, Shmurda.
Let me say a couple more things. Oh, let me get my flyers to say a couple more things. Yes. Perfect. If you can.
Yep, I got it.
Yeah?
Yep.
Grab a partner. Okay, great.
Now my job is to stall long enough for Desiree and Michael to get Leah's merch table into this sanctuary. So part of this is announcement and part of this is vamping. Your job is to figure out which one is which. So thank you, Leah. It's so wonderful to have you with us, and this was just delightful and nourishing and the anchor that we needed for today. This afternoon, the Lea Morris Irma Morter Lecture and Songversation is the keynote of our Climate Revival weekend. But tomorrow at 9 a.m. and 11 a.m., we're going to have Climate Revival worship with Lea, so she will be back tomorrow morning. Please come if you have a friend that you were thinking of while she was singing, oh gosh, I wish that person could be there. Bring them tomorrow morning. It'll be just as wonderful. And then tomorrow afternoon from 1 to 2 p.m., we're going to have a Climate Revival Advocacy Hour. So we're going to talk about organizing. We're talking about getting out the vote. Just as a note, we are a nonprofit, 501c3. The church takes no official position on any candidates ever. However, we defend democracy and we wholeheartedly support democracy and voting and citizens' participation as well as moving forward. So, no official candidate status here. The other thing that we're doing with our Climate Revival, look, the merch table is here. The other thing that we're doing with our Climate Revival is we're connecting issues. So how is climate and the environment connected to all of the other justice issues in an intersectional way? How is it connected to racial justice? How is it connected to water protection? How is it connected to disability justice and to gender justice? Bringing those things together. So next weekend is Indigenous Peoples Sunday. Sunday, October 13th is Indigenous Peoples Sunday, the Sunday before Indigenous Peoples Day on the 14th. And we'll be showing the film Bad River here in the sanctuary after church. So at 1 p.m., we'll be showing this film about the Bad River tribe in northern Wisconsin and their fight to stop Enbridge's oil pipeline and protect Lake Michigan and Lake Superior, as well as the land. So we really hope that you'll come and be with us next weekend as well to learn about this fight that connects the dots between environmental justice, climate justice, indigenous land rights, water protection here in Wisconsin. So that is next week at 1 p.m. after, again, worship on Indigenous Peoples Day. Excitingly, we are going to have 3 indigenous water protectors with us for the film and for a conversation afterwards. So we'll have a member of the Bad River tribe with us who will be zooming in, and then we're going to have 2 local indigenous water protectors from here in Milwaukee. So we'll hope you come join us for that as well. We do advocacy tomorrow afternoon, and then we keep connecting the dots of climate and justice and all of this and how it intersects. So I hope to see you tomorrow and next week. And let's thank Lea by coming up to her merch table and purchasing her album or other merchandise with celebration and joy. Thank you, Lea Morris.